These are, I think, most of my pistols that have red dots on them. This one is my everyday carry, Smith & Wesson Mp with the Trijicon SRO. A few things I do like is, of course, the ability to kind of co-witness there. It's a little low. Ideally, I like to change out the sights, but want to leave everything MNP. These are the core sights. I think the sight's alright. There's a few drawbacks to everything. One of them is it has that loaded chamber indicator little hole right there. When you shoot suppressed, all of that blast comes right up under that hood. Normally that would be okay. Wouldn't really bother me to clean that out. But if you look closely, it protrudes right in front, so you end up getting the lower half of the glass covered in just gases and a bunch of just black mess, unburned powder. Not really unburned powder for the most part, but it's just all the gases and dirt. But still a great everyday carry. You're not going to be shooting an entire mag and a half, well, at least not likely. And even if you did, you might not be able to see as clearly, but you'd still be able to see that dot and get your shots on target. Just not as precise as you would the first couple of shots. So that is one of my red dots. Again, the Trijicon SRO. It's a nice red dot. I do like the large glass, makes it a lot easier to view. Here is my first MNP, first handgun. Happened to be the Performance Center MNP 9 long. Trying to get that to focus there. This one has the DeltaPoint Pro. Now this one is the easiest to see and shoot, in my opinion. Again, drawbacks: it's a little high, can't co-witness. These are suppressor height sights. I know that they make one that has the mountable little rear sights on there, but that's really high. I mean, your sights are going to be sitting way up here. These are already suppressor height sights. That means your sights would be way up here. It does have this sturdy little protector on there for the glass. The only drawback, aside from the not being able to co-witness, is of course not being able to co-witness. If the sight goes out, you're pretty much out of luck. I've only had that happen once, but it wasn't that the sight went out, it's that the battery ran out. So again, this is just something to consider, but I do think this has the best window for viewing. It's also the largest. When you compare it to the SRO at a glance looks larger. When you put them side by side, you can kind of tell that the DeltaPoint has that squared off, so you get more of the corners and overall just more visibility. The one I have the most of is the Trijicon RMR. The ones I have are the 6 RMR 06. And that's just because I like these smaller dots. I would never like that 6 MOA. I mean, that looks like a 6 MOA in the image, but it's a lot smaller than that in person. So that's what I went with when I decided to put a red dot on the FNX 45 Tactical. Plus, I think for this gun, I think it gives it the best overall look. I tried some of the other ones on it just to see how it would look. Round doesn't look good with this shape. It just doesn't. Some of the other ones that were thinner, like Burr's Fast Fire, for example, looks way too small on this. And like the Romeos also, they looked okay. I just thought this one looked a lot better. This one is my Sig P226. Now it already came with the red dot, so I didn't have to purchase it. I've used it. I don't mind it. It's pretty much a range toy. A couple things I don't like is the shake awake feature. I don't recall if this one has it or not, but I don't like having to press it to turn it on, but it's not the worst thing. And again, it's a range gun, not a carry gun, which is part of why it's not a carry gun. But if it were to be a carry gun, I wouldn't have too much of an issue just leaving it on. I'd rather replace a battery every so often. But this is also able to co-witness suppressor height sights. Now that I got those fixed, made a video on where the sights were just sliding right off when I first got it. But Sig was pretty cool about taking care of that within a week, so it was pretty awesome. And obviously I think it looks good on the gun. I mean, they designed it for the gun, so I don't know if it was specifically for this one, but it was for their Sig lineup. Then we have the Sig Zero. This one is relatively new. I've shot it the least amount. Drawbacks on this. Rear sights, if you want to call them that, are barely there. But on a plus, they are there. Others just don't have them at all. Drawback, that button right there is how you get it to cycle through the brightness settings. It's so close. If you use your finger as opposed to any tool, you'll end up just leaving fingerprints all over the glass. Another drawback, it is polymer. It's lightweight, so that's a positive for it, but on the more negative, it's not going to protect it as much. And another drawback, that biggest drawback I think, it's not really coming up right now, but you see all that? Those are not fingerprints, those are scratches. I've only had this thing out to the range twice, and it got a whole bunch of little nicks and scratches on it. All that, again, those are not fingerprints. Those are all just scratches and blemishes from 2 range trips. So not the most durable. It's some sort of polymer. So I will likely be switching this out for something else. I'm looking for something in similar size because I do like the way it looks. I do like the way it carries. The ones I've seen so far, of course, don't offer rear sights, at least not yet. I think Holosun might be coming up with some. But this is the Romeo Zero, came with a gun, got it for under $650, so that worked out, brand new. And again, just kind of set up for the left hand there. But I do like the overall size, shake awake feature, and just the overall looks of it. But again, quality, it's just not there. If you take care of it and don't shoot it that much, I'm sure that'll last you a little longer. But again, I've only had 2 range trips. It's already all scratched up on the front, so that didn't sit well with me. I would have been more upset if I got the regular XL 365 and then went out of my way to purchase this red dot and it, you know, had those same results. I would not have been a happy camper. I would have just been pissed that I spent all that money. And I've mentioned in another video, these are awesome to have if you have a larger hand. My hand sits right above it, but it's better than having to feel that ledge on your pinky. So yeah, that is the Romeo Zero. But again, looks great, basic overall use. I wouldn't really have it as a range toy just because I don't think it would last as a range toy. It'd be all scratched up, you won't be able to see anything. This is another RMR, and pretty much same thing as before. I got it for the overall aesthetics of it and quality. This one I don't have any issues when I rack it on the table. This one has been utilized for that many times. I don't really mind the little blemishes it gets, that worn look to it. I don't plan on reselling any of these, so I don't really care, but it does work very, very well. I just wish it had that little positive click every time you press the button. It doesn't, but you can physically see it, you know, getting brighter as you press it, so you don't have to guess whether or not it's working. It just doesn't have that little nice solid click when you press on the button. But that's a minor issue. And of course, as I mentioned, I have this one the most. This is the other RMR. This one had a gunsmithing accident. I had a screw that was broken, so I had to take it to a gunsmith to go ahead and remove the screw. It actually broke in there. So when they took it out, they had to heat it up, do a couple things to it. When he was putting it back on, apparently he pressed it and it ended up melting the little cap. I will note that Trijicon offered to go ahead and replace it, no issues. Just send it in, they'll replace the whole little cap portion of it. make sure it's still watertight. I just decided not to. I mean, I have enough guns that this is just a cosmetic thing. Again, I don't plan on reselling these. I shoot my guns, which is why some of them have little scuff marks, little dings here and there. I'm not going to just let them sit in a safe. But as far as the red dot, I think this is a really, really good value. And it could be better if the prices were to drop. I got mine on special. They were just, I believe they were about $3.99 at the time I purchased them. At a local Bass Pro, they just had them on special. This is the pre-Rona era. So of course now they're sitting closer to $500. I've seen them as high as $550. Since the RMR 2 came out, which I haven't tried, but I don't think I'd spend the extra money for it. I've never had an issue with these as far as not working. This already has a little plate underneath. It's kind of hard to see there, but again, never had any issues with them. This one also had the little plate on there. I read the reviews before I purchased them, and things people were complaining about, I just kind of took note of them. Try to get ahead of it. So I'm like, all right, everyone's using these plates. I'll go ahead and do the same thing. This is the one that already came with the, so I didn't have to purchase another plate. So of these, which one's my favorite? Really depends what I'm doing. For carry, it's going to be the Trijicon because of the quality. And that would be the Trijicon RMR or the SRO. I have a little bit more confidence on the RMR when I do things like just kind of rack it against the table versus the SRO. Now it does protrude out in the front like that, but and the glass is receded a little bit, but I always feel like somehow it's going to damage it. But to be honest, I mean, this is pretty solid, so when you hit the table, it's going to hit up here in the corner. It's never had any issues. So both durable, but it's just all in your head, well, at least in my head. So I'm more comfortable with the RMR for carry. I just have more confidence in it, plus the overall shape of it. It doesn't sit so high. Least favorite, it's definitely going to be the Sig Romeo Zero. Again, it removes the rear sight and adds these little notches. If you're going to go to the trouble of adding those, at least make them more, pronounced. Make them protrude a little bit higher. I mean, that was the whole idea, so might as well go all out with it. This little polymer glass, again, cost, I get it, but at some point you're giving up a little bit too much quality, not gaining enough. Least favorite and favorite, which is again why I have a few of them. They're not exactly cheap, but the Sig I think is perfect for what it is. Just a little range toy, durable enough. I'm not going to be carrying it. If I did, I think I'd still feel comfortable carrying it. Never had any issues with it. As far as racking it on the table, I'm not sure if I'd do that with this, but it does recede far back enough where I think I'd comfortably be able to do that without worrying about breaking the glass. Most fun to shoot, definitely be the Leupold. Part of it is maybe the gun that it's on, but honestly that window is so huge, I don't even worry about trying to co-witness or anything. I just look at the dot. This is what I learned to shoot red dots with, and I found it pretty intuitive. So these are my pistols with the red dots on them. And I'm considering putting a red dot on this build. I really like the slide on that. There you go, clear, as if it matters. You guys are going to get shot through the screen. If you did, I'd love to know. That way I could buy some more of that ammo. But fluted barrel, I think this might look good with RMR, but I have a few of those, so I wanted to try something different. Not 100% sure, but it's something I'm considering. I don't know, you guys let me know. What do you think? Should I just leave it as is? This is a G17 length, by the way, and I just went ahead and put some blackout sights on the back, just serrated. And then of course the fiber optic front. There you go. So I'm not sure what red dot I might want to put on there. Let's do something a little different that isn't going to be an RMR, or at the very least a different type. So you guys let me know, do you guys put red dots on your EDCs? If not, why not? So again, let me know what you carry, if you do, if you don't, why you do choose the red dot, if not, why not, and suggestions. Again, I am still looking to get the red dot probably for this G17 build. So let me know what you think would look good on this one.